In this second part, we'll continue with setting up your environment for starting new assignments. And one thing I'd like for you to do is to come over here to these three little lines here and select that, and then go up to Dynamic Input. And once you pick on that, you'll notice that this little icon down here turned blue. So what I want you to do is to turn it off. So we had to turn it on to turn it off. Now, a couple of these things I'm just going to have you do, but not really explain them because there's a lot going on and we need to get to the important stuff. So when you are first starting a new assignment, you can come up here to the icon New. The default in Autocad is to give you this Select Template dialog box. And we don't have a template set up, so what I want you to do is go ahead and cancel. Now down in the command line, I'd like you to pick in it and start typing the word startup. Now once you start typing, it'll appear up here and you can just pick it or enter. The bottom line here, enter new value for startup. The default is 3, which meant that you saw the dialog box for starting a new drawing with a template, but that's not what we want. So what we have to do is to enter a new value, and that new value is 1. So just type in 1 and then enter. So now when you go to the icon for new, you get this dialog box. And the first thing you want to do is to pick this little Use Wizard. We will always be using Quick Setup. Pick OK. We will always use Architectural Units. Pick Next. And in here is where you set the drawing limits. And the drawing limits is basically the piece of paper that you are going to be drawing on. And those drawing limits have to be larger than your object. The first assignment is drawing a standard size door, which is 3 feet by 6 feet 8. So your piece of paper has to be larger than that. So for the width, I'm going to highlight that and type in 8 feet 6. And for the length, I'm going to highlight that and type in 11 feet. Now I forgot to put the little inches symbol here, but I did that on purpose because you never need to type in the inches symbol. You do need the feet. Otherwise this would be 86 inches, and that's what you don't want. So make sure that you type in the feet, but you never have to type in the inches. Now one critical thing here is that you pick on the word finish. If you by accident hit the enter button on your keyboard, it's not going to come out right. So go ahead and pick finish. And when you're first starting these assignments in that manner, you will have a grid. And in my class lectures, I don't like to use them. And even in drawing anything else, I don't like them. I think they're annoying. So I'm going to show you how to get rid of that. And I'm going to tell you what I like to do in order to start drawing in a specific area. So the first thing I'd like for you to do is to come down here, right-click on this, and go to Grid Settings. You'll get this dialog box, and a lot of these things we're not going to talk about right now, but for the grid and the snap we will never use in this assignment, or rather in all of the semester. So never have the snap on. and the icon for that is this one down here. So if you see that blue, turn it off. Now the grid, if you come all the way down to here where it says display grid beyond limits, I don't want that, so I'm going to deselect that and pick OK. Now, what the next step should be is to zoom all. So all you have to do is type Z, enter, A, enter. Now, before you begin drawing your first assignment, it should look like this. I'm going to back out of my view, and I'm doing that by just using the middle button on my mouse, the scroll button. Okay. Now, if you hold down the middle button, you immediately go into the pan command, so you can move your whole drawing around like that. Okay. The grid that you're looking at is the size of the drawing limits. So from where the X and the Y meet, we're considering that 0, and from 0 to this point here is the 8 feet 6 inches. And the 11 feet is from this point up to this corner up here. Now, as I said before, the grid annoys me, so I don't like to look at that. But if you turn it off, you're kind of just looking in space. So you don't really have a defined area to draw. So what I like to do is to put a border around the drawing limits. So I'll show you how to do that. And in your home ribbon, if you pick on this icon rectangle and type in 0, 0, enter, it'll start to draw a rectangle from where the X and the Y meet. And I'm just moving my mouse around, and I don't have a specific area unless I type in my coordinates. So those coordinates are this upper right hand corner. So what it does, it goes from here to the right and then up like this. So you have to tell it that area. So those are just the drawing limits. So if you type in 8 feet 6 comma 11 feet, just like that, and then go ahead and pick enter, it will set it exactly on the corner as if we had our grid on. Okay, so if I zoom in, you see there are no grid lines beyond this limit. So this is a good idea at first when you are starting AutoCAD, because if you don't have anything else here, it's kind of lost in space. So when you are zooming in and zooming out, okay, you know where you are going to start drawing. In the first video, I had you turn all of these off, but now I'm going to have you turn a couple of these on. Now, as I said before, you can turn the grid off if you want to just see a rectangle and not all those lines inside of it. You never turn this one on. This one we never turn on. But this one, ortho or orthographic, is very helpful, and it's almost a necessity when you're drawing straight lines or lines in 90-degree angles. So it's a good idea to just keep that on most of the time. And these other ones here, the only one that I would recommend at first is to turn this on, and that is your O-snap. And next to it, go ahead and pick that little triangle, and what I want you to do is add the midpoint and perpendicular for right now. So those two I want you to add. So you'll have these 6 check mark to begin with. So just to get rid of this, just pick out here in the black area, and then you're ready to start drawing. Now, I'm not going to draw the first whole door, and that's in another video, but I just wanted to explain a few things. If you get lost, let's say your drawing is out of view and you're panning around and you really don't know where it is, all you have to do is to zoom all. So I like to have my finger poised on the escape button on your keypad, the upper left-hand button. And it's always a good idea to just hit that a couple times before you start to do what you need to do, because that kind of resets everything. So I'm going to hit escape, and now I'm going to just type in Z spacebar or enter, A, enter. When you do that, you see what you have drawn comes into view. So that's a good idea if you are lost, or if you just kind of want to start over and bring it up a little closer to you. And as I mentioned before, you see we're in drawing 3, and it's a good idea to not leave it that way. So you want to do a save as for this drawing. Now, to start drawing a line, you have to get into the line command, and you could do that a couple different ways. Over here in your home ribbon, there's the icon for line, or you can just type L for line, or you can type in L-I-N-E. But for right now, I'm just going to show you with the line command up here. So once you select that, the first thing you should do is always read the bottom line. I'm stressing this a lot during class period, and I'm asking the students, where should you be looking? And the answer is on the command line, and that's because it'll tell you what to do. So it says line specify first point. It's asking you to specify a first point where you want to start the line. So, for example, if we're drawing the first assignment, we can start the door at one of the 4 corners. So I'm just going to pick a random spot like that. Now, you should always look down at the left-hand corner of your lower corner of your screen in the command line for the next step. So it's specify next point. It's telling you where do you want to specify the next point. So in AutoCAD, we don't have to hold down the middle button or right button or left button, any button, to make a line. So once you pick someplace, don't think you have to hold down your finger on that left button. So just move it in the direction you want to go, and make sure with the ortho on that you're going in the correct direction. So you're not going to be going out here. You're going to go in here and stay within your drawing limits. So the instructions want you to draw a line that's 3 feet, and you could type in inches, or you can type in just the 3 feet. So I'm just going to convert it very quickly to 36 inches and then hit enter. Then when you want to draw the next side of the door, just move it in the direction you want to go and type in the length. So the length for the door is 6 feet 8 inches, or the height rather, 6 feet 8, and then enter. You don't have to type the word inches. And then back over this way, another 3 feet, 36 inches, enter. And then the little trick here is to come up here, and as soon as you see that end point, you can pick there. And we see that because our O snaps are on, and we have the end point check marked. So all we have to do is come to that point there and pick it. Okay, now your pencil is still on the paper, so just hit escape or enter, and it will release that crosshair from that corner of the door.